Right, good evening. Welcome back to VP4TV on this Saturday evening. And we have a one-loss side match in this year's 2025 Virtual Bank Pool World Championship. And it's a match lined up between Super Admin, aka Steve Chaplin, against BrainFellOut. BrainFellOut has been nowhere to be seen, so the presumption is, or the assumption is, he's going to show up at the last minute because that match is due to go ahead in about 12 minutes' time. I believe it's just a race to 4 racks. 5 banks will give you the rack, so it shouldn't take too long. But in the meantime, there's one or two other things to cover. First of all, the 2026 10 Ball World Championships has been set. The sign-ups are now open. The difference from last year's event, there are a couple of major differences. First of all, it was set on the 10-foot table last year with narrow pockets, which is the normal tournament pockets. This year, it's set back onto the 9-foot table. And the other difference is the pockets are set to tight. Now, this tournament is set to go ahead as of January the 1st. That's when the bracket will be drawn. So there's a whole month to get signed up to it, as well as the fact that we have the 8-Ball World Championship coming to a conclusion. We've just got the semi-final match and the final match to go ahead on that. And the bank pool tournament continues. So talking about the bank pool tournament, if we go into that tournament, quick look at that, we can see that we actually have this match tonight scheduled for the top of the hour, and tomorrow we have 2 matches on. We have Albinario against One Pocket Slim, and that's due to kick off at 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And then an hour later, we have the match between Cobra and Bedhead. That's the match I'll be covering because the match between Albinario and One Pocket Slim will be streaming that on his Twitch channel. So those are the current schedule the current scheduled matches for the bank pool tournament. If we look at the bracket, we can see that this match between Super Admin and BrainFellOut is down at the bottom of the one-loss side. If we look at the winner's side, we can see that we're into round 2, and we've got those 2 matches tomorrow evening. So that takes care of the bank pool tournament. And finally, I think we should just go back the way that should work. We go to look at the 8-Ball World Championship. Probably not a lot to see. The fact is that there is still no scheduled match. The only match that can be scheduled is that semi-final match between Albinario and Coldest Pillow. Now, they're going to have to be quick because we're running out of time. We've still got another couple of days left. This is the 29th of November, and November only has 30 days. So last day of November is tomorrow. So I believe that it's Tuesday, I think, is a deadline for these guys to arrange this match. There shouldn't really be a major problem. There's only an hour's time difference between the two. Albinario being in Sweden and Coldest Pillow being in Wales or UK or whatever the hell he is in the country, I don't know. But they should be having not a lot of problems getting their match arranged. And of course, needless to say that in the final, we have the usual suspect, Cobra, well-deserved finalist, very, very strong in his match against Albinario, and it gave him a 4-rack margin. And very, very few mistakes in that match. Cobra was strong, but the question then is can he be as strong in the final? We don't know, but we're going to find out, and it's either going to be the usual revenge match with Albinario, or it could be new blood. It could be cold as pillow. So that remains to be seen. Right, in the meantime, if we go back to the lobby and have a quick look around, no change. We have about 5-6 minutes to go. Oh, the other thing to mention is that if we go to the calendar, this is something that rarely goes ahead on a Saturday night. Now, I'm thinking that this match that we have, being as it's a race to 4, it really, I mean, if it takes any more than 25 minutes, I'll be really surprised. A rat can be over fairly quickly. But on a Saturday night, probably not a lot of people know it, but we have 2 doubles tournaments on during the week. We have Monday night 9-ball Scotch doubles, which is always a struggle to get it to go ahead. And we also have the Saturday night 8-ball world doubles, which with the clocks going back, it now starts at 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. It's normally 8 o'clock, but that hasn't been changed on the schedule. So this 8-ball doubles tournament rarely goes ahead. It's always a struggle to get people to team up and actually playing these damn things. So I'm hoping that if this bank pool tournament finishes quickly, or this bank pool match finishes quickly enough tonight, we might have enough players hanging around to actually get teamed up and get into the 8-ball doubles tournament. But I don't hold out a great deal of hope for that, because it's some strange reason people are scared to actually partner up with people. I think they're worried that they're going to get found out too much. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, Stub has been muted again, and no sign of super admin now. So the only thing is, for this schedule, and this has never been fixed, this is another thing that bugs me. If you go to look at a tournament schedule, and the only way you can be 100% sure is to go and look at the bracket, and I'll show you what I mean. For all we know, super admin could already have forfeited the match, and we don't know it, because the match will still remain on the schedule even if somebody forfeits the match this afternoon. Now, the only way you're going to be able to double check that is by actually going into the bracket and looking to see if there's a forfeit. It hasn't been. The match is still scheduled to go ahead, but that's just an example of something that actually does need fixing, because I've been caught out a couple of times where players have forfeited matches, and yet you look at the schedule's there, I'm all set up to do a live stream, and then somebody tells me, no, that match has been forfeited. And that's another thing that's still left lying on the schedule, when it should actually disappear as soon as a match has been forfeited. It's actually coded in to go with the time the match starts, rather than whether actually a match is live or dead. It doesn't work that way. Just another annoying thing about VP4. So, well, good evening, Cobra. Have you noticed anybody in the chat? Well, it might be dead easy if BrainFellOut doesn't show up. The sooner this gets started and over with, the more I can either get a game of doubles in the tournament if there's anybody around to play in the tournament, or I can go and watch the UK Championship, the snooker that's on BBC. I think it's on BBC4 at 7 o'clock. I can go and watch John Higgins playing in that. Oh, did you see any of the snooker this afternoon? Stephen Maguire was playing Judd Trump, and I don't know whether it was a red or whether it was whether it was actually the blue he was trying to roll into the side pocket. But when he rolled the cue ball must, and the commentator said it, the cue ball must have rolled across the joint of the slate, and he missed a sitter of a ball by an absolute country mile. I wonder if the table fitters will have looked at that. because they need to strip the cloth off to do it. Maguire would have been well pissed at that. I stay in here, Stubb. You can make an arse of yourself in here rather than straight into the lobby and get yourself muted. Well, we'll see how the master of banks, Steve that is, actually performs if the match goes ahead. We are 2 minutes away from this room going up, and it's panic stations. First of all, there's no sign of Steve, and secondly, his opponent's nowhere to be seen either. This will be short and sweet, I think. All right, well, there's the good news. First of all, BrainFellOut's arrived. So he's here and not really intended to get any great deal of practice in. He's just going to wing it as soon as the room goes up. So a full 4 weeks to get 32 people into this 10-ball World Championship. The scary thing, of course, is it's on tight pockets. So the super admin has arrived. We'll have the lag for the break. And 5 banks will give you the rack. And well, I think this match will go in an honours system where, you know, the obvious banks you don't need to call. And of course, you don't necessarily need to call any bank as long as you're honest enough and you call a missed call, something that's obviously a missed call. Any sort of half-decent player would be prepared to play under those sort of rules. Right, well, let's get in and see how things go. The room is up. I'm first in. We've got the blue cloth. Welcome to Bedhead. Bedhead's in here, obviously, to pick up some tips from the master. And Steve has arrived. I wonder if he's got his tracking lines on for the banking. Did I say that out loud? No, I didn't. Anything's possible. I'll have a quick drink. So BrainFellOut on the right-hand side. Looks as if he's going to win the lag. So this, remember, is for anybody who's new to this setup, it's the short rack version of Bank Pool. We're only playing with a 9-ball rack. And these balls that have gone in, those balls will stay down until the end of the visit. And the 3-ball looks a dead set up and down. And you really want to stun across the table to the left-hand side to leave that 4-ball. Well, he's not really played that very well, because the first thing in my mind would have been to stun across and draw across to there to leave the bank in the 4-ball. And didn't really play a good line on that 3-ball either. And not really an awful lot left on here. Well, you've got to hit that a lot harder than that, I think. To get the line, you tried the up and down. Well, there's a pretty good 8-ball. I think you've just got to find the line and try and get the cue ball out of the way quick. If you hit it solid enough, I think. A nice little dead weight one from BrainFellOut to get him off and running. But I think he can squeeze that 8 ball. I think the 8 ball, he's actually sitting good for the 8 ball now. That gives him 2, sitting very good in the 7, and very good in the up and down. Now, you're obviously going to play the bank, but you want to get this cue ball back across to this side. Got it way too quick to the short rail. That was a good chance there to get to the hill in this rack, because those that 4 ball was sitting. Was that the 4 ball? It's sitting there waiting. Give it a go at the 7. Close but no cigar. Well, 7 ball now doesn't count because it's out, effectively out of the game. Whether we'll actually need that 7 ball's a different story altogether. And the 2 ball's now dead also. I don't think there's a great deal on there. Well, this is a good line. It's a good line. It's got the legs. That was very well out. Why the hell's my replay not working again? Hold on a minute. Right, I think that's it fixed. That was a very nice bank he managed to dig out there. Close again in the 6 ball. So now there's 3 balls out the game. Unfortunately for Steve, he needs at least one of these balls, because there are 3 balls that are live in the table. They would only take him to 4, so he needs to pick the right time to actually pot one of these, or BrainFellOut might have done him a favour there, trying to actually pot the 2. Well, this is not a very inviting setup, to say the least. There's absolutely nothing doing here. I mean, you can easily pot the 2 ball, get it on its spot. You're not really going to leave a great deal on. You need to get a ball in play, because the 7 ball and 9 ball are blocking that pocket down here. Well, look who's arrived in the room. Oh, dear. Well, again, you know, there's still an opportunity to actually pot that too and get it on its spot, especially if you stay over this side of the table, over the 2 ball side. I don't think there's any danger there in doing that, and just at least getting it out of the way and opening up the play a wee bit more. Well, the danger now is that 1 ball's up the table. So now it would be dangerous to open up that pocket. This could go on for a while, this match, especially this first rack, the way things are going. Well, that leaves the 4 ball dead in the pocket anyway. Now, somebody is going to lose patience eventually. there is a crossover there, I think, on that one ball. Good effort. I think that's going to bring the 6 ball out. The 6 ball goes into the stack. Nothing, of course, doing because these kitchen end pockets are both dead. So now we're just going to get the stack. Well, the one to play is clearly the 4 ball. And is there enough room for a crossover? Yes, there is, I think. He's not playing it, I don't think. No, he's bringing the 7 out as well. So this is the first time in the tournament we've seen that amount of balls in the stack. Well, if you play this one up and down, this is going to break these open. He's playing it gentle enough. Now, what's BrainFellOut left here, though? Well, there is a sort of safety bank. You could have a go at the bank into the corner and leave the cue ball stuck there in the end of those balls. That's maybe what he's having a go at. I mean, again, if you just kill the cue ball stone dead there, I don't think you're going to leave a great deal on. There is the one up and down, if you can get the cue ball out of the way. That's well done. Let's check if the replay is working for that. Yes, it is. Cue ball staying well out of the way. Now, is this a 2-railer into this bottom right-hand corner? The line looks like it has to be. I can't see that going up and down into the corner unless he's going to play this slightly to the right and the cue ball's going to break up these balls if he does that. I'm not quite sure what he's playing here. He is, he's going up and down. He's nailed it. And that was the only danger with that was breaking things open, but he hasn't really broke a great deal open. So now it gets interesting. We're now 3 apiece in this first rack. I don't know whether there's enough of the 2 ball there to have a go at the crossover. I don't think there is. No, BrainFellOut's having a quick look at it. Cue ball's gone. Now, that could be a sellout. That could very well be a sellout here. Ball in hand to Steve. And a fairly straightforward up and down in the 4 ball. Got to get the cue ball coming out of there, though. And scratches in bank, I mean, scratches in any type of billiard game are not great, but the one thing about scratches in bank pool is that you can immediately lose the game, especially if there's a couple of balls out in the open. It could be all over rather quickly. Now, looks as if he's reasonable in this 2 ball to me. This, for the first rack. Of course, BrainFellOut's lost points, hasn't he? I forgot about that. He's lost points. He's now down to 1. So a bit of pressure on BrainFellOut to try and survive in this first rack. Now, I'm just wondering if there's anybody watching this who might not know who Super Admin is. Is it worthwhile actually mentioning that? Well, first of all, nobody's had their eye poked out with the butt of the cue, because that's what Stan did to Ollie when they were playing pool. And also, I think Ollie put the cue through the glass cabinet. He did that as well. So they were bloody hopeless at pool, as you would expect. But anyway, for anybody who maybe has stumbled across this stream, you are watching Virtual Pool 4 online. This is the 2025 Bank Pool World Championship. We have BrainFellOut representing the UK against SuperAdmin representing the USA. SuperAdmin is Steve Chaplin, the developer of the Virtual Pool series of games, which go way back to Virtual Pool, Virtual Snooker, Virtual Pool Hall, Virtual Pool 3, or Virtual Pool 2, Virtual Pool Hall. They were very, very close together releases, I remember. And then, of course, Virtual Pool 4. So, Steve Chaplin is here to give us a lesson in bank pool tonight. And with me rabbiting on, he's already won the first rack. So, BrainFellOut is going to have to get his game together here, make a match out of this. No panic. But the one thing about the first rack was there was a wee bit of jiggery pokery going on, which Steve has been talking about during commentary about actually playing the odd safety now and again, rather than just going hell for leather, as most players in this tournament generally do go all out for it. We saw how Larry's demise came about by going all out. He scratched about half a dozen times, and in the one match, and had enough of the tournament after that. Oh, well, I'm proud to say, Tam, good evening, that I have never seen an episode of Strictly Come Dancing, even when Brucey was on it. And I'll tell you something else. I will never see an episode of Strictly Come Dancing. Or that dancing and ice crap, whatever it is. These are things I avoid like the plague. I don't watch any of that crap. And I mean, this thing, I turned on. I turned over to ITV tonight about 5 o'clock, and what's its name was on, or coming to the end of the episode. What's it called? Bullseye, the relaunch of Bullseye with Freddie Flintoff. I mean, Jim Bowen will be turning in his grave when you see that they'll get the choice to go for the mystery star prize, and they give them an extra bloody dart. You know, yeah, it's 101 or more with 6 darts. You've got the non-dart player, throwing at the board and throwing out the board and not scoring a lot. And then the dart player comes in, and then they get an extra dart to still try get to 101. Well, a load of crap that is. It was a lot more hardcore when Jim Bowen was running the show. That's bullseye for pussies. That's what you should call that. Well, it is. It's just dumbed down. I mean, they might as well just give them the bloody prize if they want them to win it so badly. They never won it anyway, even with the golden dart. I think that's 2 weeks I've caught the end of it, and the female non-dart player last week was a total disaster. She just couldn't wait to throw the darts at the board and get it over with, and managed to not stick the dart in the board. Anyway, that's got me ranting about the quality of the television on a Saturday night. I don't watch anything. Like I said, I very rarely watch the TV now. I'll watch a bit of snooker after this, and that'll be me off to bed. Anyway, what have we got? We're still at 0-0 in this second rack. And we've got, again, a wee bit of... this is going to mess with BrainFellOut's head, actually having to try and work out safeties. This is going to do him in. Now, is that 9-ball going to go anywhere? I don't think it is. That's nowhere near a line. And Steve thinks it's exactly the same and decides just to clear the pocket. That 2-ball, I mean, it certainly is bankable across into the corner if the 7-ball wasn't there. I don't think it's bankable up and down because it's too close to the point. But this 9-ball is certainly bankable. Now that's a poor shot from BrainFellOut. He got that 4-ball, or whatever ball was it? Was it the set? What ball did he thin there? Well, whatever he's done, he's brought the cue ball into play, but that 9-ball didn't open up there. I wonder how Steve would have described that in the commentary. That was pretty poor. Well, you'd have to straighten this 6-ball up and get the cue ball out of the way. You'd have to pick the line. I think the line is just before the first diamond there. And you see, that wasn't the line. And I think you had to hit it a lot harder to bang it off that rail and get it to hold a line into that corner. I don't think the 1-ball's on. I think the 9-ball's well in the way there. Or is it? No, that's perfect. That was very well played. Commentator's eye failed there miserably. I didn't think there was enough room, but I'll give it to Steve. He certainly picked that one out. That was perfect. Well, who's going to give odds for a 4-0 thrashing from Super Admin to BrainFellOut? I mean, although he's only 1 rack up and 1 point up in this second rack, there's not a lot coming back from BrainFellOut. I think BrainFellOut's scratching his head here. I don't think there's much doing here either in this table. Be cutting that, looking to cut that short or cut that in, or double it across into the corner. I think he's just weighing up his options here. Well, certainly I think the 4-ball goes. Oh no, he's going the other way. He's going back the way. I thought he was going to try and squeeze it round behind the 5. Now, you see, that was a bit risky. He's left an opportunity here for BrainFellOut to get himself on the board in this rack. Again, it's not set. You're going to have to pick a line for that 3-ball. And you're going to leave this cue ball well in play. He's looking at it in the side. Now, if that cue ball stays in the kitchen, well, he's absolutely that. I don't know what the hell that was. I mean, what? I don't even know what pocket he was playing it in. No idea. But it was the proverbial country mile away from it. And the problem is he left the cue ball well in play. Steve gets the 9-ball out of the way. Now, I don't know. See, this line that he's got with the cue ball here, I don't think is any good for the bank. On the 2, he needed to be sort of there or thereabouts for the cue ball. 7-ball on the side looks on. Left it short. He's left it short. There's a crossover in the 3-ball, and I would suggest that's about it. Anything else would be a bit crazier. And that's broke up the 2 balls in the stack. But again, the more important thing for BrainFellOut is what's he left. Well, with the 2-ball guard in this pocket, there's nothing in this side of the table. I don't think the 6-ball goes up and down because the 4-ball's in the way. So Well, if he's trying to go up and down, he had to get the cue ball well out of the way, but he hit that too soft, I think. I don't think there's any room for the 5 ball either. Too close to the 2. Well, the second scratch of the match so far for BrainFellOut. And Steve, with ball in hand, can pick out the 8 ball or the 4 ball. Bear in mind that it's a blue cloth and I can't see whether it's blue or black from this distance. Well, I'll be annoyed at that because I don't think it was all that difficult. 4 ball. But once again, not left a great deal on. This 6 ball may well bank, but it's one that you had to actually, again, pick the line off that short rail. And the other thing, of course, was if it came down and hit anything of that 5 ball, it wouldn't have been a clean bank and it wouldn't have counted anyway. So here we go with the up and down. And that looks very good if it just holds the line, but no. Hit the rail a little bit too hard, too soon. Well, BrainFellOut's not getting a great deal of generosity here from Steve, it has to be said. He's coming to the table. There's nothing that's what you would say is a comfortable bank. I think everything he's been playing at so far, probably about 80% of his shots, he's having to pick a line in the rail. There's nothing really comfortably set. You know, when you're looking at a bank, there's not a lot that you have to do on some of them. And then a lot of the other ones, there's a lot of work you have to do with eyeing up the line off the rail. This is a good one in the 5 ball, though. I mean, this is a genuine bank. I mean, this is something I'd expect to get. You don't need to thump it. Yeah, that's perfect. But the cue ball looks reasonable in the 4. Yeah, should be a good follow-up here. And he's only got himself back to 0, remember, because he's lost these points with the foul. And there's room for the 2 ball as well. Oh, just catches the point. So Steve still with the 1 point lead in this rack. 2-1. Crossover in the 2. If you can get the cue ball out of the way again. All about the cue ball here. That's a lovely pace. He gave it every chance. Well, Steve's not been a complete numpty, you've got to say that. He definitely hasn't been a newbie. Oh, well, this 2 ball is just asking to be banked. That's the risk that BrainFellOut's taken, trying these difficult banks. He's leaving himself wide open here. Steve fancies the cutback in the 6. He hasn't. Has he looked at the 2? The 2 looks a lot easier, but the 6 ball he's nailed. The 6 ball he's nailed. And what's he got himself now, though? Well, he looks as if he fancies the up and down again, but once again, cue ball well out of the way. Lovely line, lovely pace. What about that? Excellent. Very well played. Well, we've called the crossover in the 8. Big shot for the rack. Oh, is it a sellout? Oh, there's a disaster. Well, welcome to the party, BrainFellOut. You've at least got 2 banks on here, if not the third one with the 8 ball across side. So he's got ball in hand to get something out of this. Steve, of course, loses a point with that scratch, so he's back to 3. And the pressure's on BrainFellOut with this ball in hand to do something here and actually get onto this scoreboard and reel Steve in. And that's a pretty poor effort, it has to be said. Running that 7 ball straight into the 8. And once again, Steve with his gentle touch, up and down, cue ball out the way. Well, this time he hit it a bit harder, but that 8 ball just held its line. And I don't see an awful lot on here. Not that I'm an expert at banking. I am far from it. Yeah, well, anything that you do here would be a bit crazy. Let's be honest. I mean, there's nothing wrong with potting this ball and getting that ball into the stack because you're perfectly safe here leaving the cue ball down here. You could have potted that ball and got it into the stack and opened up these pockets. I don't think you'd have left anything. That's usually a fairly safe spot to go, right into the pocket with the cue ball. And he's actually blocked off an 8 ball as well, so you can't even pot that and get it into the stack. There's a crossover in the 3 ball, but is he going to leave a lot on if he does? Well, the cue ball has finished in an awkward spot. I don't think. I think BrainFellOut sort of got away with that one. I wonder if Steve actually tried to pot the 8 ball there and actually didn't quite get it to the hole. Well, this looks like another attempted crossover, I think, on the 7. No, he's tried to get up and down, but again, well off the mark. Now, there is a 7 ball, which I think you've got to hit this fairly solid to get it into the corner. Oh, it looked as if it was going to get there, but again, just the pace on it when it hit the rail, just a bit too hard. And once again, BrainFellOut's coming to the table with not a lot on. Well, he's not really. He's not getting a couple of easy banks to get him into motion in this rack. Still a 3-1 lead to Steve, but the cue ball's gone south. So here's a chance for BrainFellOut. Ball in hand, can't play the 7 ball because it's in the kitchen. And of course, the other problem is, or is it in the kitchen? Aye, it is. Is he about to play it? I'm sure you can't play the 7 ball. Well, he is playing it, but I thought ball in hand in the kitchen meant you can't play a ball in the kitchen. That's bound to be a foul, is it not? Not that I know the rules 100%. Yes, it is a foul. I was right. Well, BrainFellOut's just found out the rules. Same as pretty much most games from a scratch, ball in hand in the kitchen, apart from 9 ball and that. So, BrainFellOut's going backwards again. He's back to 0. Steve's back to 2. Well, there's a breakout. Well, at least one ball in the stack has come out, the 5 ball. That 1 ball's no good. There's a cut up and down in the 5 ball, which looks the favourite. But he couldn't get the cue ball out of the way this time. So, we are 33 minutes into this match and we've still only played 1 rack. And BrainFellOut finally gets one. He's on the board again in rack number 2. And, well, he's got a crazy cutback bank on the 5, but because he's running into stuff, he could sell out here. He could sell out big time doing that. He could also just roll that 8 ball in and leave the cue ball up in that pocket. Yeah, he's not going to cause a lot of damage with that. I think that's pretty good. Oh, I think Steve's called the 7 ball. Now, is that cue? That cue ball's going to catch the 6. Might catch a bit more than a 6 ball if he's going to have to jack up. Oh no, he was going 2 rails. I see. He was being ultra cautious. He was going 2 rails around the corner rather than cutting it back. But left the 7 ball on, but again, BrainFellOut struggling to pick a line. That's a missed call. That'll be a missed call as well. So now, there they are all in a row. And nothing on. I mean, there is a possible crossover in the 4 ball because it's got the little gap. But I think you've got to hit them a lot harder than that, I think, to get them to the rail quicker to sharpen up the line to the other side pocket. Here we go with the 5 ball. That's a nice pace, but not quite the line. And once again, BrainFellOut comes to the table looking at not a lot. I mean, I don't know that he can get enough of that 5 ball to cut it back. It's off the rail, though. He's going the other way with the 3. And close again, but no cigar. So 3 balls now dead. Well, this 5 ball, I'm sure now will cut back. If you're crazy enough and can get the cue ball into it again, it might be a very tight line. But I'm seeing banks that aren't possibly there. 4 ball crossover up and down. Cue ball getting out of the way again. And again, he didn't. Cue ball was always going to be the issue. He was actually not bad with the pace and not bad with the line. So a fairly comfortable, well, I would say safety, but you've got to, I'm looking at that 8 ball, or is it the 4 ball against the 4 ball? You really need to get that cue ball tight into the corner pocket to avoid leaving a bank if you were going to pot that 3. Now the 4 ball's been nudged into a more favourable position for a bank up and down. Well, that's not far away. So another dead ball. Too much hard work. Went for the two-railer. Again, close. Well, now I think it'd be perfectly safe to pot the 3 and get it at least up the other end of the table. And you could do likewise with that ball that's over the top right-hand corner pocket, because at worst you're going to leave a crossover bank into the side, but I don't think you'd be leaving an awful lot after that. I'd be more keen to try and get the game, moving on. Well, I think we're blessed by the fact that at least this isn't a race to 6. If we want to look on the bright side, at least it isn't a race to 6 racks. That was a double kiss there, I think. Well, how many times has BrainFellOut come to the table with pretty much nothing on? Crossover up and down in the 4 again. Cue ball needs to get out of the way, sharpish. But again, just nowhere near threatening the right line to that pocket. And there is a cut across up and down in the 7 ball here that Steve's been playing these at a nice pace. Let's see if he can pick this one out. Well, not bad, but just not quite the line. Once who woke up? What are we talking about? Oh, bank pool. I see what you mean. You were playing Cobra earlier on. I never noticed that line in the chat further up. And Steve nails a little gentle 3 ball. Takes him back to 3. Is he cutting back this 5 ball? This 5 ball's been sitting there all rack, and I think that's ended up maybe a double kiss as well, because it ended up nowhere near the line. And poor BrainFellOut is not getting. Well, he does have a cutback 5 ball, but again, not a lot after it, I don't think. Again, with that bank there, you had to pick the line to the rail and play it at the right pace to let it open out. And he hit that. Again, I'm only talking from my experience in banking shots like that up and down. I think he hit it too hard, but he didn't pick the line off the rail, because that's where you have to then start using your imagination in this game. Because if you come to the table and you look at a ball, say up and down or across side, it looks a fairly certain bank. Your eye tells you that if you played the game long enough, whether it be 9 ball, 10 ball, no matter what game you play. But a bank up and down like that 5 ball, that's where you have to then be imaginative. You have to see the line to hit that ball to the rail to make that angle. And that's why banks then become a lot more difficult. And I think it's one of these games that can be very frustrating very quickly. You see, that just held the line enough when it hit it hit the rail near the pocket, so it was always going to give it every chance to go in. So he's on the hill, and the crossover in the 7 ball. It's tight. Yeah, it was too tight. Now, what damage has Steve done there? Again, not a lot. Oh dear, BrainFellOut's coming to the table. He's got absolutely jack. He's got nothing really of great mention. Maybe the 2 ball, but again, he's got to watch the cue ball doesn't scratch. No, he's going crossover with the 8. Now, is this a big sellout? There's a cutback bank and the 2 up and down. I think this could be 2-0 here, folks. This could be 2-0. Got to be the 2 up and down. Well, Steve's not quite convinced, or is he? And he's right. And he'll be blaming the guy that set the shot clock. Where's Bedhead? Oh, has he left a set up there for BrainFellOut? No, he hasn't. BrainFellOut couldn't take advantage. And Bedhead gets revenge. If Bedhead's still awake, that is. I think Bedhead's long since lost interest in this match. I think he's gone away. But it's great to see Steve running out of the shot clock. I think that 2's too tight to the rail, the way it's finished. Well, I think you need to hit that really sweet to get a bank out of that 2 ball. Instinctively, it doesn't look good to me. But anyway, Steve goes back to 3. BrainFellOut's been stuck in 1 for like an hour, it seems. And we're still only in the 2nd rack. And we are 45 minutes into this match. Well, welcome to Spud Boy. Well, 4-ball sitting pretty much, I think, dead on the centre diamond. And pocket waiting for the 4-ball, but no go. And there is most certainly the bank been left on here for Steve on that 8-ball. But again, a tricky line, having to push that to that short rail and getting it to open up with not a lot of room to play with. Crossover, bottom right pocket, cue ball gets in the way again. And again, there is the cut across in the 2-ball and send it past. Oh, look at this. That is serious sync issues there. Now, I'm not sure who is on the latest release of the online. I certainly am. I reinstalled it, but that is well out of sync. I'm glad I've got this in video. That is jumping all over the shop. And it's so out of sync, I don't know what the score is. I'm going to have to leave the room. Well, all of a sudden, the room has gone pear-shaped. Somebody was talking about this the other day about being really out of sync, and I thought it definitely still is happening in snooker, but that was a serious glitch. Right, wait a minute. What's he saying in the chat there? minute. I will leave and come back. One moment. Oh, there's an argument going on here. Somebody's gonna have to step in and split them up. I didn't see what you saw, I think. No, because it was glitching out of sync for me, so I don't know what it was. I don't know what was happening with BrainFellOut. But we all saw it on the live stream, so we've got video evidence, which is handy. But the two queues were jumping all over the shop, so they were. No one has signed up. But we're talking about the 10 ball, or are we talking about the 8 ball doubles? No, that won't go ahead again. What the hell's happening here? What the hell's going on? Oh God. This is still rack 2, remember, in case anybody's paying any attention to the score. According to what I'm seeing, Super Admin's on 2 points. BrainFellOut is still stuck in 1. They're passing the shots back over to one another. Fouls have been incurred. I don't know what the hell's going on. And Super Admin's quit. What a pile of shit that was. After all of that, well, it's definitely glitchy. We saw what happened there in that rack. But I don't know what BrainFellOut saw, but I mean, we all seen it jumping. Yeah, I think I'll tell you something. I think I'm going to uninstall this and reinstall the old one until things are actually ironed out and fixed. Especially with Stink still being in the snooker, etc. But anyway, is there anybody for the 8 ball doubles? And according to BrainFellOut, it's screwed up. I made a bank that didn't show after rejoining, and sound like Super Admin did too. It's definitely glitched. Well, anyway, after all of that, let's just do a quick update. We now just have the 2 matches left on the bank pool for tomorrow. We have the match with Albinario and One Pocket Slim. That'll be going ahead at 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And you can watch that and listen to Slim on his Twitch channel. And then I'll be here for Cobra and Bedhead an hour later at 7 o'clock. And that's pretty much it. The 10 Ball World Championship sign-ups are opened. I mentioned that earlier. They start on the 1st of January. And we're waiting on the semi-final match being arranged between Albinario and Coldest Pillow in the 8 ball. They've got another couple of days to organise that. And then, of course, we'll then have the winner of that playing Cobra in the final. Well, that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Pity it all ended up the way it ended up. But glitchy updates, glitchy new versions of EP4, and conflicts with those that aren't using the new version of it. I'm pretty much certain that's part of the problem. But as I say, I think I'm going to I'm going to uninstall it and go back to the one that's a bit more stable. Right. Thanks for your company, folks. Well done to BrainFellOut. He's ended up going through by hook or by crook, but it certainly was no fault of his own what happened. It was a bit dodgy looking, to say the least. Right. I will see you again very soon, so I'll bid you good night and see you later, folks. Thanks for watching. Hit the like if you can be bothered.